Welcome to episode 25 of Avantgarde Entrepreneur. I am so glad you're here with me today, my friends. This is part one in a two-part specialist series. Two of the biggest mysteries for most business owners are financials and marketing. There's virtually no solid information out there about managing your financials and business continuity. On the other hand, there's gobs of information about marketing. The question is, what is real? What applies? And what do you need to know as a social entrepreneur? In episode 24, I shared that much of the purpose of Avantgarde Entrepreneur podcast, as well as our suite of programs, is to be your filter so that you can focus on your social enterprise and eliminate some of the noise, all the shoulds, what you should read, what you should do. Today, we are talking with my personal human filter about all things marketing. We're not talking about all things marketing today, but when it comes to being my human filter, he's the one I trust for anything that's marketing related. His name is Jacob Froats. He's the owner of 10 City Impact, a full-service marketing agency based in Malaysia. Jacob has many roles, but I know him as a digital marketing expert and friend. And no, I did not meet him because of a Google search, Facebook, or Instagram, if you can imagine that. And in fact, I just realized when I was prepping for this podcast that we're not even first degree connections on LinkedIn. The way we met was by a higher power that brought us together. So whether it's God, the universe, serendipity, whatever you want to call it. And we got connected after I'd experienced the pain and knew I needed help with marketing. I just had no idea how much help I needed until he and his team took over. So when I say experience the pain, what I mean is that I knew what I was doing wasn't working, and it certainly wasn't going to work long term. So what I did, and I encourage you to do this as well, is I conducted a personal audit of all the things I was doing. What was I doing in my startup? What did I love to do? And what were the key things that truly only I could do? And I guess the easiest way to say it was, what was my core genius? And the short version is that creating content for you is my core genius. The rest I needed to get help on, especially all things related to digital marketing. I needed a digital media director. So this was in September 2021. 6 weeks later, just 6 weeks after writing down what I needed in early November 2021, I was at a conference where Jacob was a virtual sponsor. He wasn't even physically at the conference. He just had a great message and I knew I needed to meet him. So we set up a call. I sent him my Evernote list of all the things that I knew I needed to outsource. We had a Google meeting to talk through them, and then another where he introduced me to my future account manager, B. And it was off to the races, as you might say. So we've been working together for just over a year now. And meeting Jacob has been a huge blessing. It is truly the best decision I ever made for my business. And it's truly the reason why Trisha Bailey, PhD, and our Avantgarde Entrepreneur Suite of programs is even on the map. It's even the only reason you even know about it is because of Jacob and his team. And I am certainly by far one of Jacob's, if not the smallest customer Jacob has, but he believes in you and he brought me on as a client. You know, one of the things that makes social entrepreneurs unique is this dual focus on people and profit. Plus, you have multiple stakeholders. You have donors and investors. You have beneficiaries who you serve, train, and educate, plus paying customers who buy your products and services. And these stakeholder groups all have very different agendas, and your messaging and how you show up, what you put out into the world, it's so important, but it's not easy to balance all of them. And Jacob, more than anyone I know, is qualified to share insights that help you navigate this. Jacob basically, among being other things, among being a dad and a husband and a son, he lives and breathes digital marketing. He's created a multicultural team and has clients in more than 7 countries. He's done it all from the ground up. and his team is happy. I know this because they share how great he is, even when they don't have to. So, if his other clients are as happy and grateful as me, then that means that Jacob has a lot of raving fans around the world. Jacob, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me and that over the top, wonderful intro. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. A lot of kind words, and you've been a blessing to my staff. And yeah, a lot of kind words, and my staff handles you totally by themselves. So I don't know if that's my best case study or worst one, that I don't connect with you as often as I should. So you've been a blessing to us, and super cool story to be where we're at today.
Thanks. Well, we appreciate it. Everything. It's amazing. So, I've shared a little about you from my perspective as a friend and a trusted client, or trusted, quite trusted client. So, tell us about yourself. I mean, you built a business from the ground up in another country. Where are you from? How did you get into marketing? And where are you now?
Yeah, I'll try to give you the quick version. I grew up in Northeast Ohio, moved down to North Carolina for university. Um, Wanted nothing to do with digital marketing, social media at all. Thought that was um, not worth it. All the young kids wanted to do it. I wanted to do the real stuff. But I
Mhm.
always liked getting free things. And so um, anytime there was stuff at the university, or I'd reach out to universities, get free t-shirts, I was always interested in whatever I can get for free. And so there was a social media marketing person that came to our school and talked, and they said they got free stuff from Instagram because they had some couple thousand followers. And I was like, all right, I'm interested in social media. You can get free stuff. And so I started, my roommate was a barista. And so I was like, I think I can get us free coffee if we do this, this, this. And so started to figure out how to do that, and early days of social media influencing. And that branched off, and I was just giving free coffee to everyone I knew since I had so much. And some folks running businesses were like, hey, we're paying someone a lot of money to do this, and they don't seem to be doing as good as you're doing with that coffee thing. And so why don't you come in and talk to us, and end up getting hired here and there for some contract work. Um, Wanted to be back in Southeast Asia. I spent my last summer of college working in Cambodia, and just knew I wanted to be in Southeast Asia. And so as soon as I got the opportunity to move back, had enough contract work, and it coincided with uh, meeting and marrying my wife. She's from the States as well, but she wanted to be in Southeast Asia, and the timeline just worked out really well. And so we got married and moved over here 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago now. And yeah, just took the opportunity as soon as I could to start a business and start hiring people. It's the first time I've ever hired anyone as a full-time employee. Was in 2019. The pandemic hit, and so it was me and Yaya, our designer, for a long time, just the two of us trying to survive. And then we just had a big day on Monday this week. We took the staff out, went to one of our clients as a fitness franchise here, and so we did a big competition fitness class, office competition together, and then went out for sushi afterwards. And I was like, man, we got a really big table. There's 14 of us.
Wow.
I have a new intern starting next week. That'll make 15. This is very different than a couple years ago. So it's been a really cool journey to get where we're at today.
Yeah. You've had a lot of change in 4 years, or, yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, my wife laughs at me. She's like, 4 years ago, you were single in North Carolina, no responsibilities. Now you've got two kids, a wife, 14 people depending on you, living in another country. Um, God's been a faithful blessing to me, and all that, as he's given me responsibilities and helped held me through it.
Yeah. What was it like? Do you remember your first interview whenever you were hiring Yaya? Do you remember what that was like for you, or how you felt? That's a big step for hiring someone.
Yeah, that was exciting. Like I said, I've never done it before. Interviewed a few people, knew I needed somebody.
Mhm.
Um, and I think everything that we do now has just been piece by piece, the same as figuring out how to get free coffee on Instagram. Is
Mhm.
all right, now I'm figuring out Photoshop and design work, but we're getting more work, and I need to hire someone that actually knows how to do this really well and is better than me. And so, uh, yeah, it was. I don't know if I remember the interview specifically, but I do remember one thing. She asked about our HR department, And I was like, just to be clear, I know there's like little language barrier and things, but just to be clear, just you, it'll just be you and me. And so Yaya's still with us. She's been a huge blessing to our business, our family, our culture, ever since that day.
I haven't got to meet Yaya yet, but she was helpful designing the diamond for our logo. I had created something in Canva, and then I realized, the things you realize as a business owner, oh, you can't use that if it's going to be associated. I'd taken a template from Canva, a design that was already in Canva, and then I learned that you can't use that if there's ever going to be any revenue generated. And so I went to B and told her about it, and Yaya's the one who designed our little diamond. So we love
Awesome.
Yaya.
Yeah, we all do.
Well, tell us a little bit more. I've kind of talked a little bit about it, but tell us more about 10 City Impact, and because the concept of marketing is really big for a lot of people, and you have 14 people. Obviously, you've got a lot of things happening. Tell us about that.
Yeah, like you mentioned, we're a full service agency. We do a little bit of everything. It keeps us on our toes and excited. We work with basically every client's in a different industry, and most are in different countries. And so that makes every day really fun and interesting. So we're working on different problems, and yeah, it's really neat. So we've got about half our clients in Southeast Asia and about half in US, some Europe, Middle East.
Mhm.
Tend to work with higher ticket items, or clients that are selling those products or services. And so anywhere from clients making 50,000 a month to 5 million a month, if we're able to hop on, do a few things, and increase that sales number even a little bit, that has a huge impact for their bottom line. And so looks a little bit different. I know we might talk about it depending on what that client size is, what opportunities they have in the marketing realm, and where we could best serve. But we do a little bit of everything for each of those clients, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And your tagline, is it? Um, Tell me your tagline. Is it worry less, sell more?
That's on the head of the website, I think.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
build meaningful relationships is pretty core to what we do.
Okay.
That goes along with that, worry less, sell more. But yeah, we help all our clients, whether it's running Facebook ads and making introductions to customers there for them, or reaching out on LinkedIn on their behalf to set them up with relationships. It's all about that person to person relationships. That's what we do.
And you really meet people where they are. Sounds like it's not just me. It's the same way with everybody. You figure out what it is they need, whether they think they need it or they don't think they need it, and they need it.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah,
start building a relationship.
every client's very unique. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's really two ways to build a marketing agency. I don't know how interesting this is to you or your listeners, but you can go real productized and go, hey, we serve dentists, and we serve 1,000 dentists, and dentist number 561 needs this today. And it's pretty numbers based, or you can go more customized, and that's the route that we've taken. It's way more relational. And that's pretty core to who we are, who I am, why I moved to Southeast Asia is the relationship piece with our team, our clients like yourself, and then their customers as well. Most of our clients, they're trusting us to talk with their customers every day and build those relationships on their behalf. And so that's a big responsibility that we take pretty seriously.
That is a huge responsibility when you're basically the conduit of information. It's huge.
Yep.
Yeah. I'd really like to ask you some, I think these might be for you, certainly marketing 101 questions, but we had in our Avant-Garde Entrepreneur Foundations program, we had our first group of graduates go through in the fall last year, and we continued meeting. And we meet once or twice a month. And they had, the thing that comes up is marketing. That is the first thing that comes up. It's like, how do we even find our customers, or, how do we serve our beneficiaries, especially for people, with social enterprise. I know you know about this, but there's this huge spectrum of profit to nonprofit. Of social enterprises, and especially those that are on the nonprofit side, it's a big leap to shift to the mindset, okay, now we're going to make money. And so marketing is always a huge question. So if someone is, whether they're new in social enterprise or they're making a major shift in their strategy, where do you actually start deciding on how to market your business?
Yeah, so there's probably a good distinction there if they are brand new or if they're making a shift. So if you're brand new, you need to prove out that, hey, there is a market for what we're doing. So maybe a marketing myth there is that you can create demand with great marketing.
Mm,
Um, and I'm sure there's a case study out there where someone's done it, but uh, most of the time it's no, you can unlock some demand, some pent up demand that's not being served.
mhm,
But I've had a number of people come and put forth valiant efforts and that I've watched try to market something that just the market doesn't want. And so no matter
mhm,
how much money you spend or how many people you talk to, if people aren't wanting to buy it, then yeah, it doesn't matter how much money you're spending, you're not going to see that come back. And so a big test for people just starting out is like, all right, get your first three customers. I like the 3 days, three customers. So
mm,
if it's your first thing you're just trying to figure out, and that's text your friends, family, and don't just ask them, hey, does this seem like a good idea? It's, hey, here's my Venmo. If would you pay for this? All
mhm,
right, it's $100. Get three people to send you $100.
mhm.
Improve that out. Then you can go, all right, I think I've got something here. Now you got to figure out how to deliver it, obviously, if it's your first thing and make sure that all works. But as far as the marketing plan, okay, now I've got some validation that I can try out some other methods. If you're switching over, you're saying from nonprofit or not thinking about making money to, all right, how do I really scale this? Is that the other
Mhm.
scenario?
Yeah, because a lot of social entrepreneurs, especially if they start as a nonprofit and they really want to serve their beneficiaries, and they realize that just giving them money or giving them things isn't going to help. They need to teach them how to fish instead of giving them fish. They need to teach them how to fish. So they need to switch over their mindset and create a business where they can train people, to give them skills and then maybe even seed money to get started in their own business.
Yeah, that same principle probably applies, and make sure you have customers and you're serving a real need. I think I've
Mhm,
seen a number of people that say a social enterprise and not actually serving a real need. It's just family and friends want to
mhm,
help you out and feel bad, and so it works for a while and even maybe a year or two. But then it wasn't a real need that you're addressing in the market. So that's probably a good thing to be looking at before you invest a lot of time and energy in people's lives that you really want to help, right? To
mhm,
make sure that's a sustainable business even without you and your connections. Facebook is an easy way to test that. So if you want to get outside of your own circle, and you could see sort of looking at your competitors and what other people are doing that are in your similar industry.
mhm,
And if there's not any people in your industry, that's either a really good sign or a really bad sign.
mhm,
A huge opportunity, or hey, a lot of people have tried this and it's not working. But you could go look at what they're doing. If you click on people's Facebook profiles, there's a thing on the left side. If you scroll down, it's called page transparency.
mhm,
And so you can see ads that they're running. So if you look up, make a list of your competitors, go on their Facebook page, you could see their ads that they're running.
mhm,
And maybe just run something similar and go, hey, does this work for people outside of my network? Here's the people I want to target. I've sort of got a idea of the type of ads that are working for someone else. Don't copy
mhm,
their ads, obviously, but with your own unique spin and with your product or service, put that in there, and that should give you a good test. You don't need to have positive ROI on the first ad.
mhm,
That might be somewhat unrealistic, but if you're getting any sort of traction and having some conversations from it, then that's
mhm,
probably a great way to validate. Oh yeah, we could make a change here.
mm. That's really helpful. That kind of brings up another question about Facebook ads. What you mentioned there, I think there's a lot of probably a lot of maybe misinformation or just people wonder about them. So you mentioned kind of doing this as a beginning thing. Can you do Facebook ads really inexpensively, or is there kind of this break even point where if you're doing selling certain kinds of things that you should or shouldn't consider Facebook ads?
Yeah, there's definitely some general guidelines.
Mhm.
I wish I should have like a set of 10 rules. I'm sure they're out there.
Mhm.
Uh, Facebook ads is super versatile. You can go on there and go, I want to spend $5, or I spent over $1 million in Facebook ads with one client last year. We just tallied up
Wow.
2022. It's like that's a lot of money. It
Wow.
feels like play money. No, that's a real $1 million that we gave to Facebook, but it was
Mm,
profitable. They're giving back customers and able to create a bigger business and impact that way. Uh, so it serves a wide spectrum. Generally, higher ticket items and services work better on Facebook because it's a competitive market.
mhm,
You're bidding for eyeballs basically, and so
mm,
if someone is willing to bid more than you, they're going to get the eyeballs. And so if you're selling a trinket that's 50 cents, you're not going to be able to compete with someone who's selling cars on there for
mhm,
$50,000. And so it'd be really hard to sell trinkets on Facebook ads to do it
mhm,
well. There's companies that have done it, but it's really difficult. um, the more your customer is worth to you, the better you're going to be. And that's sort of the game for a lot of business. The more you can make your customers worth to you, the more you can outcompete your competitors. The more you could spend on Facebook, the more you could treat your customers better than they can, because your customers are worth more to you. And so higher prices makes customers worth more. Getting them to buy from you multiple times, having phenomenal service where they come back to you and they tell other people about you, are all ways to do that. I
mhm,
both love Facebook ads. Like I said, spent a lot of money on Facebook ads last year. I also write a daily email, and a lot of times I'm ranting against Facebook ads because so many people, like, that's their main go-to strategy is, if only I had more leads, if only I had a few more customers, my life
mhm,
would be so much better, my business would be so much better, and so we need to spend more on Facebook ads. And
mhm,
that's usually not the cure for most businesses, 90 plus
mhm,
percent.
mhm,
They really need to focus on their current customers and how well they're being served.
mhm,
Are you unforgettable, undeniable to them, where they're just raving about you and telling everyone about you? Once you get that down packed and they're giving you referrals and they're buying from you multiple times, then Facebook ads becomes a little bit of fuel on the fire, and you could spend more to get higher quality leads. You don't want to spend all day talking to people that really don't want your service. They're just scrolling on Facebook and are not the type of customers that you've really dialed in that you want to serve and that love you.
mhm. So it sounds like it really comes down to what the core is, kind of what you said about whenever you start, you want to make sure that the demand is really there, get your customers, and it really comes down to focusing on who you have and taking good care of them.
Yeah.
And
So in the beginning, Facebook ads, great to validate.
mhm,
Let's throw $10 in here. Let's throw $50 in here. Can we
mhm,
validate? Can we have some conversations? All right, there's demand here. All right, let's get
mhm,
some customers, figure out how to serve them at the highest possible quality we can.
mhm.
And then Facebook ads becomes another option to go, all right, how do we scale this thing up once we figured out how to deliver?
Okay, that makes sense. I think something a lot of people also want to know is in the research I did in my PhD program is that a lot of social enterprises don't invest in marketing because it's this mindset that it's kind of an extra thing, or they should be able to do it in house, or you should be able to think of this stuff on your own. So I think that a lot of people in social enterprise, they never conceive of hiring anyone to help them with marketing because it just seems, first of all, it's a huge mystery. And second, it just seems like it's so expensive or so out of their price range. But I have a feeling it's not. So could you talk about, I know that you have a wide range of customers. I think I'm probably your smallest. Can you talk about the things that you would do for a client, let's say if they had a budget of maybe like 10,000 a month, which I know for the listeners that's a lot, but we want to like know what we've know our high point, what we've got to work with. So maybe like 10,000, 1,000, and then let's say you're just getting started and you literally have nothing. Um, what could they expect from a marketing firm to help them with?
Yeah, if we start at the higher end, I would be looking at working with an agency, or a firm to really manage. You can learn a lot just
Mhm,
reading articles and watching YouTube videos nowadays.
mhm,
Probably better than 80% of agencies are going to serve you. Is you might as well spend 3 hours and just learn it yourself and build up a
mhm,
skill set. And probably before you hire a marketing agency, you should do that, or have someone like me vet some people for you so you don't make a bad decision. There's a lot of marketing agencies that are just churning through customers, and people sign up and they're gone after 3 months because I got a bunch of likes and clicks, but I didn't see any return on my investment. But there's enough people out there that they could just move on and find more customers. So you certainly don't want to find yourself in that, where you invested and trusted someone, and 3 months later you're out a good bit of money and don't have anything to show for it, and hate marketing even more. Uh, if you've got $10,000 a month for a marketing budget, you validated your idea. You've got customers coming in. You just need to scale. And so I would be looking. There's a lot of helpful. I've got a list of, here's 6 different areas of digital marketing, and a bunch of different levers to pull under those. And so paid advertising is one of them, and there's Facebook, and there's Instagram, and Google, and LinkedIn. Affiliates and referrals. There's 6 different buckets. I'm happy to share that with you and your listeners if that's helpful. That I sort of look at and go, all right, what makes sense for this business? What are other people in the industry doing? All right, those are big highlight areas. And where are our skill sets as a team? Do we have writers on the team? Should we be writing a lot? Okay, we don't have any writers, but I've got an awesome network, and so maybe we should be focused more on referral plans. And so just sort of having a general idea. All right, here's the 3 to 5 areas that we want to invest in, and then probably looking at an agency for a couple of those bigger areas. And so if SEO is one, if a lot of people are searching what you're selling, then I'd be looking at that budget at getting someone who's an expert. And so you could learn probably how to be a 6 out of 10 in SEO online in a week if you dedicate yourself. But with a business that's bringing them a lot more money, I might as well skip that and hire someone who's a 9 out of 10 and really scale the efforts. If you're at the $1,000 a month, I'd be looking at learning myself. And so everything that I've built, and as we've grown, is like, all right, how can I figure this out in a week, and for $100 basically is my rule. And so that's probably the mindset that I was in as I started this business of like, all right, I might have 1,000, but that's mainly for me. That's my whole business. I would be on YouTube. I'd maybe look at that list, same thing of, all right, here's the 3 to 5 areas that I think we want to run down, and go and spend 3 hours on YouTube, just listening from people, taking notes on each video, and having some bullet points. And go, all right, what are the common threads? What seems interesting? What seems doable for me? And let's go run with those. There's a number of things that you could just do for free. You don't have to spend money on Facebook. On Instagram, you could be reaching out every day to your customers just for free, just through direct messaging. Same thing on LinkedIn. If you're B2B, you could be reaching out to your customers every day for free. Emails, similar, phone calls. No one likes to do that. So if you have $1,000 a month and you're running a business, and hey, my passion's right here, I don't want to do the marketing, it's not interesting to me. For $1,000, you can hire a college student part-time, or a high school student that's a go-getter and wants to support what you're doing, is interested, and $1,000 is a lot of money to them to be sending out Instagram and LinkedIn messages and trying to set up conversations for yourself. And so that's sort of running in the background, somewhat automated through, you're giving someone a job, which is an awesome way to make an impact. And now you're just having a couple conversations a week from the efforts that they're doing, which is super cool. We do a lot of that for all our clients. I'm happy to share strategies and what we've learned with you or any of your folks.
Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, hiring is, and if you're overseas, $1,000 a month goes a long way too. And so, but hiring someone to do some of that manual work, so you're not spending the money on Facebook, but you're rather putting the manual time in to send out those messages and build the relationships on your own. At the $0 a month, it'd be doing that yourself. And so that's how I started figuring out how to get free coffee. And it's not a difficult thing. It's just taking the time and building that into your daily habits. And I tease and tell people, hey, you could just send out Instagram messages while you're sitting on the toilet every day, and that would completely change your business. But most people just aren't willing to click the buttons and send out the messages. And so, but just building out a daily routine. Hey, every morning I go on Instagram, I send out 15. At lunchtime, I go on LinkedIn, I send out messages. I make 5 cold calls in the evening, try to get on the phone or leave a message. For most people, 2 or 3 customers a month can completely change your business. And obviously that scales. If you're selling products and trinkets, you need a lot more. But in that instance, affiliates and B2B relationships is is what you're looking for. But 2 or 3 customers can completely change your life and business. And if you're sending out 15 messages a day on each of those platforms, you can be having 10 conversations and bringing on 2 customers every month that you otherwise wouldn't have for completely free, just because you took the time while you're sitting on the toilet to send some messages.
I imagine that could be quite the YouTube phenomenon. People might not actually do it, but they'd probably click on it just for that title.
Yeah. Sorry to say it on your podcast, but
no,
I
it's
say
funny.
that
It's so true.
it sticks with people.
So
That's
true.
what the only
It
reason I
does.
say
Yeah.
it.
So it sounds like consistency is the key. Like whatever you're doing, if you're consistent with it, it's like we even talk about habit stacking, and that kind of goes right along with it.
There it is.
If
Yep.
there's something that you're doing every day already, just add something else onto it. And obviously, we're all using the toilet. So true.
It's a typical digital marketing playbook to A/B test everything, and it could and probably should apply to a lot of different other businesses. But the idea is when you're sending these out, take note of what that message is in the intro and how people are responding to it and how many responses you get. All right, I sent 100 messages this week. I only got 2 responses. Let me switch my message up and my intro and be a little more personalized. Let's see how that works. And I got 10 messages back the next week. And so, yeah, that only comes with consistency and then testing and taking note. Hey, that one worked, or this closing worked, or inviting someone on my podcast this way worked. And so consistency plus testing everything is key for you to improve and go, all right, 6 months from now, I'm going to get way, way better at this than I was the first month.
Yeah.
We've done that a lot.
Yeah.
100,000, if not 1,000,000 times on those messages over the last 4 years. So like I said, happy to share. I can skip the first 4 years of your testing.
Yes.
You'd like some quick tips on it.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Such incredible insight from Jacob Froats, our marketing specialist. I didn't realize how many questions I had bottled up to ask him. And in my quest for information for you and me about marketing, I didn't want you to miss a minute of the wisdom Jacob has to share about life and leadership in business. So I'm pushing pause on the interview with Jacob, and we'll pick back up in episode 26. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss what he has to share next.